prim and proper or totally awkward? Prince William and Princess Catherine ooze Royal Highness energy, until they don't. Red carpet snubs to cringy family affairs, these sovereign slip-ups were caught on camera. In July 2017, Prince William and Princess Catherine, who were then the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, embarked on a 5-day royal visit to Poland, bringing their kids Prince George and Princess Charlotte along for the ride. On their final day in the nation's capital, Warsaw, they attended a gala in honor of Queen Elizabeth II.
Catherine and I are delighted to be embarking on our first visit to Poland.
After the royals posed for photographers, a photo emerged in which they appeared to be visibly displeased, particularly Catherine. According to body language expert Judy James, a photo can sometimes capture a flash, in which a momentary facial expression, when taken out of context, can appear to indicate an emotion that may not necessarily be there. However, James says that's definitely not the case here, describing Catherine as being furious with her husband. She told The Express, "Kate's unsmiling facial expression looks shocking, and it wasn't just a flash. There are several photos of the occasion that show her looking unhappy or even throwing William some pointed looks while he tried to remain neutral with a faint, polite, close-lipped smile of what looked like regret or awkwardness." James also noted that Catherine appeared to be biting the inside of her cheek, an indication of repressing an emotional response to a possible argument at the time. She added, "As she looked out towards the waiting guests, her arms looked rigid and her eye expression wary." In 2019, William and Catherine were the guests of honor on A Very Royal Christmas, a televised holiday special for BBC, featuring former The Great British Bake Off judge, Mary Berry. But at one point in the festivities, the royals were seated next to each other, when William put his arm on Catherine's shoulder. Suddenly, she shifted her positioning so that her shoulder was just out of his reach, forcing him to quickly and discreetly pull his hand away. Then she quickly pivoted her entire body in the opposite direction, launching into a conversation with someone else on her other side.
Hang on, who's judging this at the end of it? Just checking. Who's judging?
We'll wait and see.
Okay.
While the whole thing happened within a fraction of a second, it certainly did not go unnoticed by the news media, as well as social media. One viewer tweeted, "The body language in this, I'd say she hates him." Another user posted, "Calling that awkward is an understatement. That was definitive deflection and rejection. I guess she's just not into him anymore." Someone else then posted, "Awkward regardless of the reason. She had an instant reaction, and it was telling." Odd moments between William and Catherine occasionally result from inanimate objects. Such was the case when the couple toured New Zealand and Australia in 2014. According to the Royal Observer, one of their stops was the Air Force Museum of New Zealand in Christchurch, where they unveiled a new plaque which was waiting beneath a purple velvet curtain. While some TV news reports indicated that the unveiling ceremony went off without a hitch, the entire video revealed a far more fumbled reality. The plan was to open the curtain with fully functional cording, and when that didn't go off as planned, the couple appeared like deer in the headlights. Mercifully, a royal staffer jumped in and pushed the curtain aside with one hand. Problem solved. When William and Catherine attended the 2023 annual Royal Variety performance held at the famed Royal Albert Hall, they weren't the only monarchs in attendance. Other guests at the show included Nordic nobles, Crown Princess Victoria, and her husband, Prince Daniel of Sweden. Fun fact, Victoria is actually related to William. Her dad, King Carl XVI Gustav, and William's grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, both called Queen Victoria their great-great-grandmother. But the awkward moment happened on the red carpet as the Prince and Princess of Wales were seen engaging in a conversation with dignitaries. As they chatted, their backs turned to the Swedish royals. Victoria and Daniel were seen milling around, uncertain of what to do, and fully snubbed. As one ex-user posted with a video of the moment, "That's how you host foreign royals in your country, by standing aside with backs turned, completely ignoring their presence. And of course, make sure you speak and go first, because you are more important. poor Victoria didn't even know what to do, let alone her husband.
God save the king!
God save the king!
The coronation of King Charles III took place in May 2023 and was a pomp-filled ceremony meticulously planned down to the second. William and Catherine, who were granted the titles of Prince and Princess of Wales when Charles assumed the monarchy, played key roles in the big weekend event. That was why it was such a big deal when the day finally came around and the royal couple were late to the party. As author Robert Hardman wrote in his book, The Making of a King, King Charles III and the Modern Monarchy, the couple and their 3 children didn't show up at Westminster Abbey when scheduled. The author noted, "The Waleses are supposed to be there 8 minutes ahead of the King and Queen, yet they will now arrive after them."
Just arriving outside, the Prince and Princess of Wales.
While their late arrival may not have been apparent to everyone who watched the coronation, either in person or on TV, it was documented by the various photographers and camera crews. Robert Hardman claimed the whole schedule of events had to be reworked, writing, "Although the congregation inside the Abbey don't know it, there is an awkward scene unfolding outside as the King and Queen are in their coach. It is an added layer of stress that the couple really do not want or need on a day like this." In September of 2023, William and Catherine visited the young students of Madley Primary School. The school is somewhat unique in that children attend something called forest school classes once a week in the woods, where they're taught camping and survival skills. During their visit, the couple joined in on the students' lessons, with William sawing wood and stripping bark as Catherine inspected a crude shelter the kids built from various sticks and pieces of wood. That was until William broke a piece off the shelter. Still, many people who saw the video of the twig mishap thought it was endearing. One TikToker commented on a repost, "Whoops, how he fixed it and felt bad but giggles at himself. He is so genuine and thoughtful." Another added, "That's adorable. I bet he's not allowed near anything breakable in any of the royal households." Reports of a major rift between Prince William and Prince Harry, as well as their spouses Princess Catherine and Meghan Markle, have been abuzz for years. A big bone of contention came when the Duke and Duchess of Sussex famously broke from the royals, announcing they'd be stepping back. But the alleged royal family feud was on public display when the couples attended a Commonwealth Day service in 2020, with all 4 of them appearing grim and unhappy to be in each other's orbits. As Access Hollywood noted, one particularly awkward moment came when Harry and Meghan were seated but didn't rise to greet William and Catherine when they arrived, other than their quick hello. Harry later addressed the instance in an episode of the Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan, confirming that it was as awkward as it looked.
All the TV cameras and everybody watching at home and everybody watching the audience, it's like living through a soap opera.
Explaining that he and Meghan had been incredibly nervous to reunite with their family, and that the entire experience felt just as icy as it looked on TV. Harry revealed,
It felt really distant from the rest of my family, which was interesting because so much of how they operate is about what it looks like rather than what it feels like.
Back in 2013, Catherine was still something of a royal rookie when she accompanied William on a St. Patrick's Day meet and greet with the 1st Battalion Irish Guards. While walking alongside William, she experienced an awkward incident when she abruptly brought their procession to a halt when the heel of her shoe became caught in a metal grate. Catherine, who was pregnant with Prince George at the time, was assisted by William, who offered his hand for support while she crouched down and freed her heel. But Catherine seemed nonplussed by the unexpected diversion, shrugging off the embarrassing moment and continuing on with the rest of the outing as planned. Attending Princess Eugenie and Jack Brooksbank's wedding brought about an awkward moment for Catherine as she accompanied William to the nuptials. As it happened, the wedding took place on a particularly windy day, which caused a gust of wind to lift Catherine's dress well above her knees. A photographer captured the moment in a shot that was reminiscent of Marilyn Monroe holding down her dress over a subway grate in the film The 7-Year Itch. While the incident could have proven embarrassing, Catherine brushed it off. She simply giggled about it while also likely breathing a sigh of relief that she'd managed to prevent her dress from blowing up any higher than it did.